Hey everyone, welcome back to Xana Heroes Forge. Today we're going to be showing you how to paint a Necron Immortal up to Battle Ready Standard, following much the same method as we used on the Necron Warrior to bring this model to life. As you can see, we've once again undercoated the model with Abaddon Black. You could do this with any other black paint of your choice, it just really is an undercoat. So for the first step, we're going to be using lead belcher on the blade part of the weapon, the body of the weapon, as well as a couple other details on the lead connecting to the spine, as well as all the limbs. So, you already know where all these go, and I've explained it, so we'll cut back once it's done. With the silver details now done, we can move on to painting the brass details with Balthazar Gold. Before we do that, I'm going to run over quickly all the silver details to ensure you've got them correct. And if you haven't, just reapply some Abaddon Black or whatever black you've chosen to use to fix the mistakes. So with the weapon, it's remained the same as if you were painting a warrior. You've painted the main casing around the gun, the central battery over here, the blade and the tips of the gun. We've also got the connecting point here, connecting the cable, painted, and then the upper bodies remain the same, with the head being in silver, the chest and the arms. The legs are where it gets different. As you can see, they've got slightly heavier armour than the warriors. We just want to be painting this under armour. So the lower legs, it's a bit more difficult because you've just got a piece here, so it runs around, and then a little piece here. With the upper legs, well, thighs, it's just the lower part you want to paint. And just for the feet, just paint the toes. So with the Balthazar Gold, we're going to be painting the same places we did on the Warrior, with the only difference being we're going to paint this bracket here in Balthazar Gold as well. So we're going to be painting the joints here, one of the connection points here, the smaller ones on the sides of the legs. And we're also going to paint the spine in Balthazar Gold on this one. So we'll cut back once those are done. With the brass details now painted, we're ready to move on to painting the blue details with Stetegon Stale Green. Those will be the shoulder plates and the armour on the legs. Before we do this, I'm going to run through the Balthazar Gold details with you to ensure you painted them in the correct place. So much like with the Warrior, we've painted the joints on the wrist, elbow and shoulder, well, under shoulder. We've also painted the bracket here, the two here, the handle, this little one holding on the blade. We've painted the spine in the Balthazar Gold as well, just to give it a bit more colour. The pelvic joints are also still painted in this colour, as well as the joints on the legs. With that done, we'll move on to the blue details, and we'll cut back once those are done. With the blue details done, we're now ready to move on to our washes. Before we do that though, I'm going to run through the blue details just as we have at every other stage. So as you can see, the shoulder plates have been painted, as well as the stripe on the Immortal's head. We've also painted the lower shin armour, as well as the thigh armour. You could optionally paint the feet armour, but I've chosen to leave them black on my Immortal. Now we're going to move on to our first wash with null oil on the silver details. Take care to avoid the brass details, as they will be shaded in a different colour. With the first wash done, the silver details are now shaded. We can now move on to the brass details, which are going to be shaded with Agrag's Earthshade. Just like with the Warrior, you could swap this out for Reikland Flesh Shade and it will give a similar result. But I'm using Agrag's Earthshade because it makes it look a bit grimier and dirtier, which is what you'd expect from, as the model says, an Immortal War Machine. We'll cut back once the shading's done. With the gold details now shaded, we're ready to move on to our final shade with Drakenhof Nightshade. We'll be using this on all the blue details to make them a bit darker. Once this is done, the model will be battle ready. So we'll cut back once this is done and do the final run through of the miniature. With the blue details now shaded, we're going to do one last final step to bring this up to battle ready. We did this on the parade ready step for the Necron Warriors, however, it would be better suited to be done at this stage, as it gives you the option to choose whatever colour you want for the glow effect. So that will be using Grey Seer to undercoat all the areas we want to have the glow effect on, so that it'll actually show up. So those will be the small little orbs in the centre of the Gorse weapon, as well as the cable running from the Immortal's back, and the small cable here. So all you're going to do is want to put a small amount onto those areas of the gun, along the piping here, and then we're also going to be applying all the way along this, both sides. We'll cut back once those are done, and then we'll leave this at battle ready. With the Gracia now applied, your Immortal is now battle ready. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial, and I hope this helps you bring your Immortals up to the same standard. Thanks for watching.